It's time for Who Watch, Time and Relative Blackness in Space.
Black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Connie, and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
We're continuing our Blue Ballot Box series where we discuss one episode from each season of New Who based on our nominations and your votes. Today, we were subjected into watching episode
Pew pew pew!
3,
Bo, bo, bo.
42. We were forced into it, and now you're going to be forced to listen to our recap.
You sound like a hater. You sound like a
In this episode, the Doctor is tired of humans. Martha finds someone to believe in her, and the sun is alive. I just want to start. We did a skip list episode, didn't we? Like way back when?
Yeah. Yeah.
If the planet is alive or the devil, I'm out. Or pigs. Those are like the three like alien pigs, living suns or planets or whatever, and the devil.
Yeah.
No good can come of those.
I mean, this episode was not that bad. It's not my favorite. Like I'm not by no means am I saying like season 3 this is my jam. It's not, but I think that like it was not that bad. Honestly, and
all of you listeners, I was having a hearty streak.
Did nobody want
here.
That?
And then 42? 42? I don't even remember what Robin's choice was, though.
My choice
talking
was
about being
better.
subjected. She was like, "Oh, I've been subjected to watching aliens, or alien sons, devil sons." But she was gonna have us watch Gaddis be a pedophile and also super old. So I just feel like
the options were all bad.
Yeah.
Also with Gugu Mbatha Raw.
He's dressing Gugu with his eyes, and I personally don't want to see that.
Says,
Meanwhile, instead, we get to watch Martha be appreciated by someone who's like, he's cool looking for someone who doesn't
appreciated in the Lazarus Experiment, and we get to see the mess that is her family.
Oh, that's why we're here. Okay, anyway, so 42 is the first Chibnall episode. Which is cool. And so he like as I was watching, I was like, okay, I was kind of trying to keep it in mind, but I got caught up in watch about other parts of the show, I guess, if that makes sense. But I looked after see what other episodes he wrote before becoming the showrunner for the last season. So he also wrote The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and Power of Three. And so I'd have to rewatch The Hungry. I feel like I liked The Hungry Earth and Cold Blood. It's not one that I go back to often. But I was mostly trying to think. I was trying to figure out what are themes that he kind of.
Is The Hungry Earth the one with the Silurians?
Yeah. First,
okay. Guys, right? No. Yeah.
It is. It's the second Rory death.
First?
Yes. Second.
He dies in Amy's Choice in the dream.
Oh.
It's not a real death, but it feels real.
Yeah. It's as I don't want to live in a world without Rory.
So I was wrong on Marquita's thing.
Yeah.
I miscounted already.
I mean, you're not technically wrong, because the first Rory death, he doesn't actually die.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
You feel his death, and then you're like, oh, that didn't happen.
That one's like death zero. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think kind of the thing that I could find that was close enough, I guess, is an interest in how humans react to things and human nature. And I feel like in all of these episodes that he's written, the Doctor is kind of why are y'all either trying to like rely on humans to like bring out the best of them, or the thing is happening this way because the humans have done something like bad, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a reaction to like, okay, why are y'all like this? That's what it just feels like a lot of times, is him being like, why? And then, okay, fine, we'll fix it.
Yeah. Now that you're saying that, though, I'm thinking the other thing that they have in common is that he's very good. Well, I'm thinking about this and then all of like season 11, right? That's our last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that he's really good too at like writing episodes that like really fit with like the direction of a season. Like I feel like a lot of like Moffat's episodes during the RTD era feel like, oh, it's a Moffat episode. You know what I mean? Like it kind of changes the tone of the whole season until that point. Like it goes in a completely different direction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these episodes that you listed are like very like in step with like the overall plot, and he's able to like write really well within like the flow of like the larger season.
Yeah, I see what
like it's like adaptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because like the other two are both in season 7.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah,
what was that overall plot? But
well, also that's what I'm thinking, because as I was watching this one, I was just like, the fucking melodrama. Like, calm down, Tenet.
What are you hating?
I will save you.
And
but
then
you
the
can't
silence.
hear him, so it's like, yeah.
No.
That was such a great like cinematography wise.
He was saying
it was a great shot.
Olive oil. Olive oil.
Watermelon.
But it was very much in line with like, you know, what happens like not the next episodes, because those are Family of Blood, which is like my fave. But you know, like the end wrap of the season and Time Lord Victorious and all that. It was very much in that vein. That is very RTD style. So I was like really shocked when I realized that Chibnall wrote this episode, because it just seemed like an RTD written episode. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that. But I agree. I feel like it definitely, he's able to kind of like camouflage within that, but I still feel like, but at the same time kind of keep his own themes. Which is nice. And like, yeah.
So they land on a spaceship. It's hot as heck. Like, the crew immediately runs to where they're at, and they're like, who are you? What are you doing here? I'm the doctor. That's not an answer. And then, like, they close the door behind them, and then the TARDIS is locked out, and they can't go. And there's a 42-minute countdown, which is how we get the name 42. But also, isn't, like, 42 the mark of the devil or some shit, too? So, like...
I was going to say...
It's not.
I don't know.
It is not. It is the
what
number
is the other one?
It is the number of
There's
minutes
a devil
in this
episode or
yes,
something.
They were trying to do like, this is not the devil episode. This is like, they're trying to do a 24 type thing is what they're trying to do. They just didn't have like the boop, boop. But they did have like the like automated person talking about
the countdown
39 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not perfectly timed, but...
Was it the lady from Countdown? No, it wasn't.
No, she's just a countdown lady. I don't know what countdown is.
Oh, it's like Jeopardy, but like better. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but something I was reading about this episode was like they were thinking about going back to the era of that episode of Satan's Pit, Impossible Planet, Satan Pit, whatever. But then they decided not to, so then they made it this.
It feels,
which is why they're so similar.
Very much, like a devil episode.
It is similarly
another
themed.
One that I hate.
It is very similarly themed, yes.
Yeah. And I feel like
and like
the possession, it's
hell, the sun, it's all the same.
Yeah. The doctor definitely did not take off a single layer, and I was just like
And he wears the same. And he wears the same spacesuit.
Yeah.
That's why they feel the same, because they're all orange tinged, and he wears the orange spacesuit in both of them.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I was definitely like, Martha immediately is like, well, this jacket is no longer needed, and he's just like running around in 3 layers, and I'm like, okay, maybe Time Lords are,
victorious.
Different. Yes, they are victorious, clearly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like so they get on, well, before they even like get on the ship, like this is Martha's first trip as like an official companion, because all the way up to this point he's just been like, oh yeah, nah, we going back home, like I'm dropping you off today. Like, right. It's, you know what I mean? And so this is the first time where she gets to go and be like, at least like, and feel like it's maybe not permanent, because obviously like we know like she has her own job and life and things that she wants to get back to, but at least like she feels like steady in this kind of position that she's in. She gets her like phone service upgraded.
It's just like the only time, I don't remember if Rose ever uses it, but we don't really see it again. Except for Rose. Yeah. I mean, except for Martha. Well, like, no. I guess, does Donna use it?
I don't think so. No, but Yaz does, I'm pretty sure.
Sure, but that's...
And...
Yeah.
Maybe Bill... No, Bill doesn't have nobody to call. It doesn't really happen that much in...
Exactly, that's partially my point, is that, like...
Yeah.
It's not really used again, in RTD's era, and then the difference with this episode and, like, RTD's run overall is that the companions, Moffat writes, don't have nobody to talk to.
Maybe Clara back when Danny was, but no, I feel like those were all times when she was
lying.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. She would pick up the phone, but I think I'm thinking of Flatline, and they were on Earth. They just weren't in the right city, I think.
Yeah.
So that's different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that would be the only other time I would think that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. But also that razor. Like, whatever flat, very thousands. Very early thousands tech.
Yeah, oh my gosh. It was a lot. Especially when she, like, ended up, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but, like, also, like, when she ended up calling her mom, and I was like, wow, because you can't just Google it. I was like, you could, you got service, and you could call people, but this is not a smartphone.
The doctor totally could have put that on there, though. I'm pretty sure...
Should have figured it out.
I think there's another episode where that does happen, where they like, look up something. I think yes.
Rose does.
No, it's, in, oh my goodness. Donna's... Oh, this is before that. Yeah. The doctor looks up something at Donna's wedding party, like, the after party. Mm-hmm. He, like, sonics a cell phone to be able to Google something. Or, like, search something.
Is it a Excel spreadsheet that pops up?
Where you at?
I don't believe so. Because, even back then, that would have looked stupid, you'd think. Apparently not. So he totally could have given her that extra boost, but he wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. He probably didn't think they were going to have to be quizzed about Elvis and the Beatles. Like, yeah. So there's that. But yeah, so
it goes to show the, like, dangers of, like, doing, security things while drinking.
First of all,
it is a good reference to security questions and how ridiculous they are. And, like, the guy was like, purple, like, what, I think it was, like, his favorite color or something. And he was like,
favorite
purple.
Color.
And he's like, oh wait, did I say orange? And it's kind of like when you don't remember what your security question answers are because they're so subjective, and I hate them. But that's
right, there's that. There's also, it depends on, like, how you write them. So, like, I used to do the ones where they'd be like, what was your elementary school? But then I could never remember if I typed out the whole thing, or if I put school on the bottom, or if I did the acronym, and then I'm just like,
what was the childhood name? What was the name of your childhood best friend? Did I put the full name or the nickname? Like,
right.
Which one did I think at the time would be a better security deterrent?
Something that I would remember also. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's annoying. So like even though Martha is able to like, it's kind of like, and you know, she's a companion, she's out here, the doctor is like, we're homies, we can hang out, he's still stringing her along, and like isn't really making, or isn't being explicit about like what their relationship is. Basically he's just being a whole fuckboy. He's just like, you know.
I never saw him as being a fuckboy, as just being like stupidly obtuse.
Yeah, I think that's how they're trying to play it.
But he knows. Like, you can tell in certain moments that he, like, in some moments it feels like he's just oblivious, and then in others it's like, no.
Yeah.
You would have to know. You know what I mean? Like, I think that he maybe he doesn't realize, like, how strong her feelings are for him, but, like, he knows that he's 900 something years old. Like, he
gets it.
He understands what's happening, and there are moments where I get, like, maybe earlier on in the season where I could see him being a little bit more, like, obtuse about it, but at this point we're, like, halfway through, like, there are a couple moments, especially at the end, where he's, like, brooding, and then she's, like, kind of trying to ask about it, and he's like, oh, and he goes off and then sees that she's clearly like, what the fuck, bro, and then that's when he gives her the TARDIS key. Like, it's like a little manipulative, to be honest. Like, oh crap, I see that, like, I want to keep her happy, and not even that he doesn't, like, care about her and isn't her friend or whatever, but he could explicitly just be like, this is what it is.
I miss Rose.
Right.
She died.
And then let it be that. You know what I mean? Because I think also once they make those boundaries clear, then they're homies and everything's great, and it doesn't have to, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really come up ever again. Mm-hmm. By the time Rose comes back, Martha's like, wow, good for y'all. Like, so...
Yeah, I think they intended it.
Work, so.
I think they intended it to play as he is 100% obtuse to this and not paying attention to that aspect of it, and he just thinks that she's just like, "Yay, you, the doctor," because everyone is kind of like, "Yay, you, the doctor." Like, he's just ignoring, her admiration of him, which obviously goes deeper than just mere admiration, but like everybody kind of gets weird around the doctor, so I think he's just like, just, you know, this is how everybody acts around me, I just don't feel it in return because I'm thinking about Rose, but like it's how he is with everybody, or like I think that's how they intended it to play, like that's why he's being obtuse to it, because she's just kind of like every other character who's just like, oh my goodness, the doctor, he's so great,
I believe in him.
Right.
You know what's really funny?
Nothing in this episode.
There are a couple moments. There aren't nearly as many, like, quips, though, as, like, in other episodes. But what's funny is that this episode, I was very much like, Doctor Who, like, leave him. I don't care. Whatever. Meanwhile, Danny was like, Doctor Who, leave him. Stay with me on the couch. And I was like, fuck you.
Because Martha was in space, though.
Martha was in space. I mean, like, she's already out here,
and the guy was already in space, and so he would have just had her in space, as opposed to Danny, who wanted to bring her back to Earth in the present. Like, what?
Like, where are you, sir?
In the present? But I could be in the past or the future, bro. Like,
you know.
Well, she's a white girl, so the present.
It's not really that. You know?
It ain't like she's living her best life in the present. I don't understand.
True.
Yeah, maybe that was his point. It's like, you got it made over here. We can get to that later.
Oh man, that would be great if Danny was like, I'm never going to the past, take me only to the future. It's like, that's why he don't want to travel in space.
It's like, y'all going all the way out there? Y'all going back there?
Nah, not for me.
Y'all would rather do that than come hang out with me? Then I'd be like, okay, I get it.
But that's how you know there are no black people in the writer's room. That could have been the reason, and then it would have all made sense. Anyway.
Yep. But yeah, so then they also spend most of this episode separate. Mm-hmm. But then they have those like comms or whatever, so it's not like they just don't know what's going on, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like also one of those times where it's sanctioned, like she doesn't just like run off on her own. They're like, okay, like you go help with that. We can.
Yeah. He was just
I
like, be
did
careful.
notice because I mean, we talked about this. Like when my first watch of the Martha season, I disliked her because I thought she was like whiny and like brooding over him and like why. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh no, Martha is
That
that
one.
The one
bitch.
and the two.
Yeah. And this was like one of those moments when I was rewatching this, the one time that my interest was actually piqued, before the rest of the 42 minutes continued, was that she was like, I'll go, and
Yeah.
like, and then he was like giving the like, be careful, blah, blah. And like, we don't really see that with companions. I mean, I guess we get there with Amy and
Yeah.
Donna a little bit. And I love Donna, but like, not super forcefully like that until Clara, in which case with Clara, it's like,
She did too much.
She was
it's too
already
much
gonna
and
do what she wanted, so he was just resigned to the
right, it
fact
was
that she's gonna go
arrogant.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Clara did it, it felt like arrogance, and then when Martha does it, it feels like I'm confident that I can help, and I am
And
made
he's
like,
confident that she can help.
Yeah.
but she's not like, I'm rushing into battle or whatever. She's like,
Yeah.
I can
The
help.
doctor, stay here.
Yeah.
Companion, no.
And like,
Yeah.
and then I'm just thinking again about Chen. And like, obviously, there's so many episodes where like the doctor and the companion split up. But just thinking about the episodes that he's written, oftentimes when they do, it's in that kind of vein of like, I'm capable and like whatever, and I'm confident, and this is where I'm most needed. And so cool, we'll just see you when I see you kind of situation, as opposed to like, why the fuck are you running off? Like, who are you? Like, why? This was a bad idea, kind of thing.
Or that the doctor is the one that leaves them and forces them to like deal alone.
Exactly. It's more like, okay, y'all, like, game plan, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and I'm like raising my hand to
volunteer her services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the capacity that we all feel like, yeah, you can totally do that. You got it.
But not like girl. Not in a I'm off. You're like, what's happening here?
Like a Harry Potter. You only know one spell. What do you mean?
Like, where are you going?
You don't got the range.
You're going the wrong way.
It's like I could have told you this key detail if you'd slow down.
You're right. Yeah. So I mean, it yeah. I mean, I definitely think like they in this episode you can kind of see like is rapport the word? Not really. But just the way that they work together and the way that they've kind of figured that out even before when he was like, cool. I'm still going to drop you off at your house though.
Yeah. That's rapport.
Yeah.
Rapport's the right word. Yeah, so she's got frequent flyer privileges now, and so that is like makes him feel more confident and her feel more confident. It's not like her first go around like Shakespeare Code where she's like, am I about to get got?
Right.
Yeah.
And but at the same time she's like surprised by where they are too, because like this is like she's never been in space. She's been on other planets, but not like in space. And then she's like, well shit, now there's a sun that's we're clearly falling into, so that's awkward. But we out here. Yeah. Speaking of this ship and this dumbass crew, my god. Like there are a lot of like ensemble crews, and like we jump in and they're like, oh no, we're in distress. But like,
and I feel like I tend to not like those episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that I have like a strong feeling either way. I'm more just like, that's just a staple in like a Doctor Who season kind of thing versus like I love it or hate it or whatever. But I swear, like of the episodes that I can like remember off the top of my head, like this crew was the most just like I was just like, y'all are not up on what's going on here. Like y'all just really need to be moving much faster. Like there was a moment where what is her name? Arena or whatever. Like so literally No, she was the one. I guess she was helping the dude who was fixing the engine, and so literally,
She was like the
doctor
worker
put. Yeah, but the thing is like, so they had just said over the comms like, homeboy has been taken over. It's attacking people, so we need to hurry up and get stuff together. And then her boss is like, "Hey, hurry up with that stuff." And then she chooses that moment to be salty as opposed to work like grabbing that shit, knowing that like everybody's in danger right now. Why are you taking this moment to be salty?
And then she does my favorite thing where she goes to the person who they're like, he's not him anymore, but I'm your friend. No, that was the dude.
No, that was and then the captain, she was like, "You're my husband," and I'm just like, "Damn, we've already
we've established no him. We have established
he's gone.
Like he's
like the doctor said, he's gone.
Yeah. He's burned all the way out. He no longer is. That's just. Not that it wouldn't be difficult to like obviously see like your person.
Yeah.
Being like obviously, but this is like a real quick. You got 15 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, get it together. You can mourn later. Just like you're not trying to save him anymore because
he's gone
past that. Past saving. Yeah. Also, there was only one non-white person, and she was the first to go. So, like,
but she was also a doctor,
and the first to go.
I mean, shout out to the tokens out there. They,
sure,
the tokens, but living that STEM life.
2 of them on the same ship. That's wild. Wow. Clearly, one of them had to go.
Obviously, one of them had to die. Yeah.
One of them had to go, and it couldn't be Martha. So
just that's just Highlander.
2 black women, y'all are tripping.
It was 3 in the whole episode, so like, shout out to that. Literally everyone else was white, so that was hilarious.
Oh my goodness! And then I was
honestly. Oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just looking on the wiki, and it was like the sun only possessed dudes, and then those it possesses only killed women. And well, the wiki said coincidentally or not, and I was like, coincidentally? Sure.
No, because when I was watching
damn.
No, because when I was watching it, and he killed, like, those 2 women, and then he saw him and was like, you must become like me, like, or whatever the fuck. He said it wasn't the Cyberman thing, but it was similar. And I was like, wow, misogyny, that's crazy. I was like, you couldn't have, them other 2 weren't useful? No. Okay, cool. Great.
The sun is sexist. Whatever sun this is, in whatever galaxy, it's sexist.
I mean,
I don't mess with the sun.
It knows a thing or 2
it's alive.
So I mean,
no.
I didn't hear it. Say it again.
I said it knows a thing or 2 about women. That's what I heard.
Oh.
Anyway. This episode is terrible.
Not. Honestly, like, it's really not terrible. It is.
I was bad.
So bored. The episode is fine.
I'm so much screaming for no reason.
I paused it for a solid hour.
And looks of pain and pained looks. And there's so much screaming and looking. It's 45 minutes of screaming and looking. And I, for one, I'm mad at everyone who voted for it.
Oh, well.
I was just bored. Well. I paused it for a solid hour and found myself not paying attention. And I was like, crap, I have to actually pay attention to this.
Diana and I saw each other yesterday in person, and she goes, don't forget 42. And I was like, right, yes, ooh. And then I went to bed, woke up, and promptly forgot 42. I literally finished right before we recorded. I always reading my book at the same time.
Finish right before we're recording.
I was gonna say, I'm like, don't y'all always watch it right before recording anyway? Correct. So I don't think that is really a.
Correct.
I like to keep it fresh,
I just gave myff enough time to pause it for an hour.
Yeah,
because I was like, I'll get back to this, and I paused, and I was just like, oh gosh, I have to play it now.
Right. I mean, I will say that, like, honestly, one of the reasons I chose this is because I literally did not remember it. All I remembered was Martha getting jettisoned off with Homeboy, and, like, he had, like, asked her out at the end. That's all I remembered of the entire thing.
It was very forgettable. You're
yes,
correct. You're
yeah.
correct.
That's basically what I'm saying. Like it's a forgettable episode, but I wouldn't say it's like on the scale of Doctor Who episodes. This does not
From
fall.
11th, or wait,
Not
from Silence in the Library to Love and Monsters.
right. It's like it's
Above Sleep No More.
Oh well, Sleep No More is like
It's like Love and Monsters, Fear Her, Sleep No More.
yeah. Okay, that's still on the way on
Yeah,
the low section.
it's above.
It's like the Serenga Conundrum, or
You're just gonna name
Which one is
episodes that
Serenga
are
Conundrum?
the other
Well,
spaceship one.
It's the Robin Hood one.
Yes, Robin Hood. Yes.
Sherwood Forest one.
Yeah, sure.
All I remember is that Robin Hood was in it.
Yeah, and I only remember more of that because I more recently watched it with Aminata because it's one of the few Capaldi episodes that is not terrifying.
Yeah.
So, and even she was like, "This is boring," and I was like, "You're right, it is boring." I was like, I'm just trying to let you hit all the doctors and the companions. That's it. And we don't have to watch it again. But yeah, I would give it Robot of Sherwood because it's like, it's not bad.
Robot of Sherwood.
It's not like, you're not, what do you know?
Yeah.
Ugh. I think it's bad. It would be in that range, but it would be further towards Sleep No More. Forgettable, and when you're watching it, you're just groaning.
The reason I'm like, it's not quite Sleep No More because the level of, well, let me hold it. It's not as satisfied with itself in the way that Sleep No More is, right? Like, Sleep No More really thought it was doing something. 42 is just like, we wanted to make a 24 episode and also have a commentary on global warming. You know? Like, I think that's more what it is. I think that it also would have been better if it was funnier. They didn't really hit.
Or if the crew was smarter about it. Like, the captain is like...
The captain the whole time is just behind and is like, not.
Yeah. The doctor was like, have you been doing anything bad? And she's like, no.
Oh.
Girl.
But she's a liar.
I don't think that she's...
I
don't think she's lying. I think besides the fact that it's like...
She knew that the scoops... Whatever they were doing was illegal.
She straight up lied to him when he asked about the scoops and was like, isn't that illegal yet? And she's like, oh no, we just haven't been upgraded. Like, nah, you could have said.
Right.
She didn't know the sun was alive, but she knew she was doing some shit she shouldn't have been doing. And then especially when they started saying it's your fault, like, she should have been like, oh shit, I've been doing illegal shit. Like, I don't know. She a liar. She had the nerve to tell the doctor to be honest with her, and then immediately lied to him right after that. And I was just like, I hate you.
And then she had her whole husband...
White woman privilege.
And then she had her whole husband...
That ain't the most white woman thing that ever happened.
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
So there was her husband who was the first guy to get got by the sun. But then the guy at the end, when she, does her like, epic sacrifice... Then she's like, I love you. Was that a different guy or was that the husband again?
No, that was her husband.
Yeah.
Oh, because I thought he'd gotten in the middle of the episode, but then the son transferred to somebody else.
No,
it just infected someone else.
Yeah.
So then there was two of them, and then there was also the doctor.
And then they froze the husband, but he thawed out. Like, he wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew he was the first guy roaming the ship killing people. And then I thought at the end, it was the new guy who had gotten possessed, but it was still the husband.
What happened to the new guy? Because I don't remember actually.
I think they forgot about him.
I think they did.
Or no, he died because she went to go touch him, and then the guy was like,
no,
don't touch him because he might be infected or something like that.
No. So they froze the husband,
but he thought out.
And that's when dude was like, but it was like a temporary thing. The other one, they put in the stasis chamber and like just cranked it down. But then by the time they went back to the stasis chamber to put the doctor in it, he had disappeared, so I don't know where he went after that, but he was dead. Yeah, that's what happened.
He had done something, because isn't that the same guy that she bent down to touch, and the other dude was like, don't touch him, he might get infected?
No, that was the husband. So the husband got like the
who cares?
Just so the husband in the engine room, he got like frozen. And then they thought that he was dead, so he was knocked out, and then she was going to touch him because that's her husband or whatever, even though they done told her that that's not her husband no more. And then they ran into the other dude, and put him in the station chamber and cranked it down. Because the other one wasn't like, it was cold, but it was more like a, like she cranked it down
machine.
to the chamber to like negative 300 or something. Like really like froze him out versus the other one, which is more like just like a light cool down, you know? Just like, yeah.
It's just a bunch of white dudes who look alike, who all become the sun and all have glowy eyes. I can't keep them together.
Burn with me. Thank you.
Burn with me. Why did David Tennant? He was the only one who got to say it that was in like a way that wasn't like it was his voice. You know, everybody else was like.
But it was also his was gross. Martha, burn with me. Nah, bitch.
Well, that's
no,
like,
thank
that's
you.
why
You even take me out for a curry because you worried about Rose, and all of a sudden you want me to burn with you?
Well, you notice that, and the minute he said that, she just kept running. She was like, "Nope, I'm out."
Rose would have been like, "Sure, baby, let's burn."
She would have like run up to him and pushed his face, like, "I believe that you can," whatever.
She would have kissed him.
Yeah,
just, I think you need a doctor.
Gosh. Oh, Time Lord.
Can't.
No
Yeah. I mean, this is like literal global warming as well. Like, the sun was like, "Oh, you trying to
kill me? I kill you."
Like, just immediately was like, "I got hitters." Look, like that. Yeah, that was crazy.
The damn score. Can we talk about
this? Is one of the songs.
Too much.
It's so much.
Whenever you guys talk about the score and stuff, I'm like, wow, I really don't go here. Like, I don't go to like listen to scores on Spotify and like know, you know what I mean? I'm like, I can tell if it's like egregious, but I normally am just like, whatever. It's the music behind it, and it's fine. Yeah. I don't know enough. This, I was like, shut up. Okay, we get it. We get it.
Honestly, it's really funny.
And screaming and everything is dramatic. Yeah. I get it.
It's hilarious because, like, y'all, I mean, maybe y'all don't know. I don't know if I've talked about this on this particular podcast, but melodrama is, like, hilarious to me, and I love it.
Really?
But honestly, so this episode definitely did, well, I know y'all know. I just don't know about the other people. They definitely did a little too much. Like, there were moments where, like...
A little too much?
Well, okay. Okay, fine. Because melodrama is always a little too much. They did a lot too much. Because literally, melodrama is too much by definition. But, like, yeah, all the screaming felt like a weird... I don't know if that's, like, a directing choice.
I feel like it was writing where they were like, we don't know, something... It's dangerous, and
they've been in other, because Doctor Who is they're always in dangerous situations, and always like the stakes are always high, and there are moments where those stakes are felt without them screaming every word. If that makes sense, you know what I mean?
Like it felt like a writing thing when they were like, we don't know what they should say here, so just scream at each other.
They were hot. Last week, y'all were talking about Antioch and Oakland being in the pit of
being
the
hot
sun.
Being hot does not make you want to scream. That just like doesn't that heighten your body temperature? I don't know if that's true. I'm just making shit up.
All I know is that when it was hot as heck, I would just groan and like randomly say, "I'm hot."
Right.
And I wasn't screaming and banging. I was trying to move as little as possible because I was hot.
Yeah, but I mean, it definitely felt like. Yeah, it definitely felt like it felt more like the acting, because even like with what they were saying, it could have been more intense, but not the screen. You know what I mean? Like they could have just the acting. I don't know if it's like on an actor level, but it seemed like they were all doing it.
Oh, Martha's in the jettison pod, and she screams, and I was like, "What is happening?"
Yeah, she's screaming, and like the guy Riley is working on it, and like he does fix it the first time, and all she's doing is screaming, and I hate that stuff, like with a passion. When I'm like, help or shut up. It's like the what was that episode we were talking about? And someone was just screaming. Maybe it was like Mickey was just screaming Rose.
Oh,
Doctor was just screaming Rose.
First episode, you mean?
One of them. I don't know.
Where Mickey's just like running around and clutching on her legs and stuff. Is that what you mean?
No, when they were like. Nope, sorry, it's a Harry Potter thing when they were at Malfoy Manor.
There we go.
Oh,
Yes.
Hermione!
There we go.
Hermione, and I'm
There it
like,
is.
we
Or
get
what?
it.
Yeah.
We get it. You feel
Right.
deeply.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
what
what I
this
mean.
was
Though
to me.
it didn't feel like a writing choice to me, if that makes sense. Because I don't know, like obviously, like she could scream and whatever, but like I think that if everybody hadn't been screaming at each other this whole time, then her screaming in that moment wouldn't have felt so. Like maybe it would have been like girl chill, but I feel like it was just the choice to have everybody on that level made it like that. And then with the music in the background and like, you know, she's screaming at her mama, like everybody's screaming, and so it's just like
Her mom was like, "You may be in space, but I'm gonna come up there if you scream at me one more time."
right, she said, "Hold up,
Like,
this is doctor got you out here being disrespectful.
being rude.
You done forgot where you came from? Is that what's happening?"
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, but yeah.
Even the
The
title
score
of
was
the songs is dramatic because the one and I was like, oh, this is where one of the places where it comes from. So there are a couple of songs from the show that I listen to on Spotify, and the one where he's leaning out of the spaceship to like fix the thing, that extra dramatic song is like called All the Strange Creatures. Like, why? It's just such a dramatic title, and it's it's just so dramatic.
It was a lot.
He's like when he's running towards her when they're getting jettisoned. That one, she's running somewhere. That score, like I was just like, oh my god, I am.
You gotta heighten the stakes. Yeah, I know.
They're burning up and burn with me.
And the thing is like
it's high enough.
It's interesting because now I'm trying to like figure out who to blame because they've done episodes like this before that are similar, and that part hasn't been. Because I mean, RTD, there's so much melodrama all up and down his run, and like, I mean, really in all of Doctor Who, there's episodes where it's just like, girl, have some chill. But like this one, I felt like it just didn't hit in the same way, and so I'm like, what was different? I guess you know what I mean. And obviously, there's so many different factors that it could be, but that was just kind of
Time Lord Victorious. I was. I wasn't. I mean, you know.
Martha moments. Let's just, you know, talk about
move on.
The one good part is Martha.
Yeah.
Being Martha and amazing. And
she's very like she does do a great job.
Except for where she's screaming
and
for
Prima,
no reason.
Yeah, but Prima does a good job of like when Martha decides to take control, and then you just know it, and not even take control, but when she steps up, like you feel like she does this thing where she like, you know, she straightens her shoulders and like her voice gets this tone of like, I'm doing that. You know what I mean?
At the end, when the doctor's like, you got to get them to get the fuel out, and she walked in there, she was just like, sun particles from the fuel, get rid of them now. And I was just like, oh, wait,
they were like,
oh shit, sun particles that I need to get rid of? Where do I?
Right, say you like,
let me look around.
Okay,
I can't see none.
I was like, alrighty then.
Even when she was like, I'll go with him, you know, there wasn't any like, she really like the doctor didn't really like squabble. Like it was like, are you sure? But like she like, you know, like she like straightens up. Sure? Or I don't know.
He was just like, okay, but you be careful when you do that.
Yeah, right. Like, and there's just this like, I don't know, like I don't know the word.
Like this, like commanding.
Yeah, it's like commanding presence that she's able to take. Like there's that like get rid of the fuel now, which is like, bitch, I said. And then there's just like this like conviction, that's the word, of when she's like, I'll go with him. You know what I mean? So she does a really good job of that.
You know what it is? She's an older sibling.
Is that it?
Yep. I mean, not even to be say like obviously like there can be lots of people who have that for multiple reasons, but it just is that moment where she's in the ship, or after they get jettisoned, and she's like kind of talking about like all of her family and how she has to keep them together. And I feel like we've talked about it before, but just like that's kind of been her role amidst all the like chaos, is her like being that person to kind of bring folks together and like bring them back down to center and being like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and like her entire family relies on her to do that. And so in moments like these where it's like, you know, obviously the stakes are much higher, but she's like, okay, this is the moment where I need to step up and just like, you know, do what needs to be done. Yeah. Yeah. And I could totally see her using that kind of tone on like her siblings. And like maybe her dad. Her dad seems like he might need that every once in a while, to be honest.
Her dad definitely seems like he's he's another child and not a not a dad.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And then we also get some of Mama Jones, our third Black woman in the episode. and so it's interesting because like so Martha calls her in like 3 kind of different situations.
I love a rule of 3s.
Yeah. And so like the first time she calls, it's for something that's like seemingly like, it's like, oh, who got the most
singles pre-download.
Yeah.
Which I was like, why would you call your mama to go look up something on Google? Call one of your siblings for that. Like, I understand for the purpose of the episode, honestly, but she called you called a middle-aged woman to go Google something? Like, sis.
Maybe
because she was
retired.
Home.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe because she's retired, so she would be home. Like,
honestly,
like, my thought was, like, I literally, when it was happening, I was like, why didn't she call her sister?
Right.
Especially because she would have gotten less pushback.
Yeah.
But then, like, her sister's always, like, on, you know what I mean? Like, given, like, their circumstances in terms of, like, what they do. I mean, I don't know if her mom is retired, but it seems like
she wasn't doing nothing else.
She's easier to find, you know what I mean?
Yeah, versus, no matter like, what time of day it is, because she in space, so don't know what time zone, time of day. She's calling Earth. She barely knows what day it is.
Who was the most reliable? In terms of like reach, or who's the most reachable, maybe not reliable.
Yeah.
Because
I was like, your mama's not the right one. She's just like, it says, 40,000 results. It's like, you
really just have to look at the first one.
Right. She started at the top of the page.
Number 2.
Truly the top of the page. It says Google.com.
I don't think they had that back then. Google didn't tell you the answer back then. Yeah. It just gave you like
the links.
Keyword searches.
Yeah, it gave you the links. But still.
Yeah. But still, you click the first link.
The first link. That's all you really got to do.
I also thought it was funny too because, like, I don't know why, but that fact, and I was like, Elvis got more singles than the Beatles. Ugh, I hate humans. I felt like the Doctor in that moment. But it was funny because it seemed like it seemed to me like a really good example of like Martha's thought process, and then also like of a person's thought process of like, I need help.
I want to call my mom.
Call the smartest person I know, who's the doctor, but he's busy, and then I call my mama.
Right.
Like, moms are also supposed to know everything, so like that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Also, so it's like music from her mom's era, so she's just like, well, don't you know this off top? Like, why don't you know this?
Like, she like calls her mom and she's like, I need you to look something up on the internet for me. Like, so she's like, you don't know this, but you're my mama, so you're gonna drop everything and do this for me because I asked. Like, and that as a younger sibling, I guess, I don't know. I feel like all children are like this.
I was gonna say to me. No, calling your mom for anything.
Like, I'll call my parents and they're like, girl. And I'm like,
I think I texted I asked my mom, I don't even know anymore, but it was some random thing where I was just like, so like just some like random adulting thing, where you're just like, wait, this is how you do this, right? And they're just like, yeah, it's whatever. Somehow like, yeah. So I felt like it made sense. And it also felt like, I mean, granted, she was calling under different circumstances, so she was just like, mom was just trying to make small talk and like technically trying to keep her on the phone, but I don't think we know that at that point in the conversation.
Yeah.
And she's just like, Mom, I don't have the time. It's not. I'm not here to chat. I just need this information.
This answer.
Yeah. And then the second time, it's when she's like calling because she thinks she's about to die.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing is like, Mom's is always nagging about the doctor, and so she kind of so Martha then closes off very quickly when that happens.
Yeah.
So it's even when she's just like, hey, I need to know this random like quiz information, and she's like, oh, but what about the doctor? And it's like, okay, granted, like, if you're thinking that I'm at a pub and like doing a pub quiz, what like I'm doing trivia, what would the doctor have to do with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so Mom's is not great at sleuthing and being an informant, but that's okay.
Mom's wouldn't be.
We can't be great at everything,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's like this random lady who's just like, keep her talking with this like headphone and shit. And
also, I thought that was really weird because at the end, she's like, Mr. Saxon appreciates it. And I'm like, wait, it's election day. He ain't prime minister yet. Right. So you just letting some random dude like track your phone calls to your daughter?
Just in case he becomes...
Well, because I think at the end of the Lazarus experiment, they tell her like, oh, he's not safe or some shit. So she's just like, if he's not safe, then what you need me to do?
I know, but I still like.
No, it's
still sell me out. It better be to like the actual authorities.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
This is how you get your
not just some random like rising star.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's coming out to the FBI, not the KGB.
That's like giving like what's the name? I don't know, any of the many Democratic. People running for president, just like, oh yeah, sure,
yeah,
you could trace my calls.
Eric Swalwell shows up at the door, and I'm like, you are at 0%. I'm not making it.
It's like I haven't even heard of you, bro.
Yeah. And the last time she calls, I guess it's just to be like, oh, we're good kind of thing. Just like, you know, love you and like, thanks and like whatever.
Yeah, I left a very dramatic call. Now let me just like.
I thought, you know, that I am definitely okay. False alarm. Mm-hmm. But then also like, okay, maybe this is just a thing. Because then also she gives homegirl her cell phone. And they put it in like the bag for evidence. But like, what are you going to...
You know, just in case the doctor has touched her phone or something.
Like, what is the point of
it's really evidence, Bayana. You're supposed to put evidence in the plastic bag and use blue.
Don't you have all the calls? Like, don't you have
I think so they can hack the phone. They weren't able to like trace her, so they can hack.
Maybe if they...
I don't know.
Because then what if Martha's like, wait, I forgot something. Let me call you back. What about tomorrow? Like, Martha's trying to call her mom.
SIM card. I don't know.
But then, like, what would they need the phone for if she's going to keep the SIM card?
I don't know.
Okay. They probably don't either. They're just like, ooh, super secret, like, government thing. And I guess they would take the phone. But it really didn't seem. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because technically if it's election day, how long is Saxon, like, prime minister before shit starts popping off? Like, not that long.
Like a week.
Yeah. So
no, they get back on election day.
Okay, that's what I wasn't clear.
Yeah.
So like homegirl gets enslaved or whatever anyway. So.
Yeah, like 2 days later she got.
Oh, they really enslaved that.
And
family.
then he's oh my god, they enslaved the black family.
I know, I just realized.
And put her in a maid costume.
Did do that.
Yikes.
Big yikes.
Yikes. Big yikes.
You know.
Yikes on white. So they get back on election day. So she like basically they're enslaved for like a year. The doctor is like mini and being held in like a bird cage.
The season has some great parts.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So then, we do have a moment too, which is just like an angsty. We're going to talk about it in a bit. I love it. So the moment where she's like kind of talking about her family and kind of just like all that they are in her life, you know? And so she has this moment where she's just like, it's so much noise. And then she's kind of like, but also they're not gonna, kind of thinking about like them not knowing what happened to her. And that kind of like freaks her out because she's just like, I can't just disappear with no type of like closure or information or whatever. And then I'm sure she's also just like wondering what, you know, then like also what's gonna happen to them because I'm the only thing keeping this hot mess together. So yeah, I mean, I just having her like think about her family and then her like calling her mom, like that doesn't happen
again.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, in that moment, I was
Donna
thinking,
calls her grand
Donna,
dad, but like,
well, she like drops in on them. She doesn't call them, but she'll like pop by.
Yeah, she calls him to like let him know that she's on the TARDIS, but she tells him straight up, like he knows. Her mom doesn't really know, but like Wilfred knows where she is the whole time. And like, I think the thing that I enjoyed about that scene, but is also lost in the rest of the run, is the idea of knowing that not just like that the family will fall apart without her, but like the idea of knowing that you're gonna leave them without knowing what happened and having no closure, you know, and that makes her feel very, very guilty, because I think that's one of the things that you can really empathize. Like, how would I cope if my sister or brother or mom or dad just fell off the face of the earth?
Right.
Like, especially someone who I talk to every day, like, you know what I mean, and depend on. They're not gonna just, they're not just gonna run away, right? It like reminds me of like people who've like, you know, they get kidnapped, or when the husbands kill the wives and the husbands are like, she left, and then the parents are like, no,
is this a Lifetime movie all of a sudden? Yes.
No, it like literally happens all the time.
I know, but like. It's also
I know, but that's
the plot
the only
of a Lifetime movie.
It's true.
It's very God Girl. Yeah.
Yes, but it's also like the only kind of comparable thing that I can think of at this moment is just like, you know, you can just rack yourself with worry because it's so out of character, and no one else is going. Like, Mama Jones might say like 1,000 times, like, it's the doctor and the doctor did it. Kind of like Rose and Mickey, right? And they're just going to be like, okay, but maybe she just ran off, you know? So I think that part, that was like the one part that I think was maybe the first time I watched it got me emotional. This time, oh my God, shut up. But
I mean, honestly, like that's the only like the in there when they're like falling into the sun or whatever. That's like the main part where I was like, that part's great. The rest of it is fine, but that part's great.
Diana remains on brand.
Personally, for me.
Sure thing.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So then we get to, you know, Martha's crush on the doctor, which is not gone away and is just a recurring thing, even when other people are literally right there. But yeah, so she ends up having to save him. And that's where she gets to like, believe in me this time, but it's like, you're saying this to the wrong person, but it's fine, whatever. And so then, but I thought it was interesting, like there's a moment where they're like in the stasis chamber and she's trying to like, I think part that scene kind of bothered me a little bit because he was like, I only have like 10 more seconds that I can hold him, and then they spend time like looking at each other and talking, and I'm like, 10 seconds been passed. You should have just thrown him in there, and once he told you what to do, just do it. Like, why are y'all talking? But I did appreciate that he did try to tell her about regeneration.
Yeah.
And like, granted, there was no time, and so she like cut him off. But at the very least, he was trying to be like, "Yo, so if I do burn out,
does go down.
I'm not leaving. I just am different." But then, yeah, we don't get to that, and also it's moot. So,
but it's also, it bothers me a little bit, not enough to like harp on it, but that it's a reaction to Rose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Martha wouldn't have gotten that consideration.
Yeah, I feel that.
Rose.
Yeah.
But also, like,
that's also like a learning experience.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like you learn, like, growth, right?
Because in that situation, he probably should have told Rose much earlier, and then.
And I have both of those thoughts in my head at the same time, but I'm also just like, ugh, Rose.
Yeah, both and.
Both and.
Yeah.
Um. So Riley.
This is Bayana's time to shine.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was waiting.
I was like,
'Cause
are
I
we
only
not
have
going to
one-
get to?
I
Are we
have
not going to get to
literally
this?
one thing to say about it.
Like, okay. So for the most part of the episode, I was just like, oh yeah, I know he has a crush on her. I couldn't really remember like how how that ended up happening, but like, danger and like
close quarters,
game of wits, and like it's only two of us, and it's really hot in here, and like whatever. But like the moment when they're like I think the moment is when they're jettisoned into space and they actually have a moment to like talk, because at this point they're like, what are we rushing for? We gonna die, right? We don't have time to be talking about.
She stopped screaming,
right? That too, but also it's like absolutely they kind of end up talking about it's that conversation where they're talking about her family, and he has this moment, and like I'm a sucker for this, and like what's hilarious is that I feel like Connie maybe had just said this to me like yesterday. But he has all these family problems, right? Like his dad isn't around, his mom doesn't like him, and he's just like, wow, like it just sucks because I don't have anyone to believe in. And then she's like, wow, well my family, I mean, they get on my nerves, but they're great. Oh shit, like they're gonna think I died.
So then Bayana's
kryptonite. So then she like calls her mom, and she's like talking to her mom, and he
tells her to call them.
First of all, he's like, you should call them, even though like he doesn't personally know that life of like familial love. He's like, you should call
really be a video podcast.
I know, because Bayana's face is literally hard eyes emoji.
And I just. So then he's like, you should call them. I know it means a lot to you, right? And so he's just in the background, like, waiting. And she's just, like, talking to her mom. And then she, like, gets a little annoyed with her because for some reason her mom is still hung up on the doctor. Meanwhile, she's trying to, like, spill her heart out to her mom about, like, her life and, like, loving her and shit. But anyway, then she, like, hangs up and she's crying. And then he, like, wraps his arms around her. And then he kisses her on the forehead. And I'm just like...
There's so much arm movement. I couldn't concentrate on the words because the hands.
She literally put her hand to her forehead in anguish
and nails and forehead,
and in anguish that like anguish
like,
moments.
Sam,
Bayana just fainted on a chaise just now.
High key did not remember. Like I remember that. Like I remember very much the gist of whatever happened in that, and then I was like he gave her the hug, and I was like, wow, a hug, and I was like, oh shit, a kiss,
a forehead kiss at that,
right? And it was like long and like lingering. And he just really like felt
and then it like
and
faded
she was
into
like
black.
Faded
to black.
It
was at the end of the
act. My god!
I will say that when she's on the phone with her mom, they do a really good job of the framing, and so the way he's looking at her, but like behind her,
yes,
so she's not paying attention. And he's like watching her.
And he's not seeing. She's not peeping the vision, but
he's
like
not.
he's there, and like
he's watching her, and you can see him like plotting out their future.
And like, even though they're like literally about to
die,
son,
he really goes like, man, if we're not about to die, like I'd marry this woman,
right?
And we'd go off, and then we'd have a crazy family, but we'd stay in love.
And like, I'd be better to my kids, than my parents were to me. It was just like it was like
all on his face, and I was thinking, oh my god, get over it.
No, I'm like, how can you feel that way? Because he found someone to believe in, Robin, and it wasn't the doctor.
Minutes.
No, I know. It is the highlight of.
It's the beginning of the thing, but
it's the highlight of the episode. I'm not saying, gonna but the episode is so annoying.
And I'm not saying that this is the moment where they're in love. I'm just saying at that point you just gotta see what's going on. You just gotta see what's up.
Yeah, what's up is they're about to hurtle into an alive sun.
Once they realize that they're no longer going to die, obviously.
The sun is alive.
Speaking of framing, so the opposite thing happens later. So when they actually kiss, there's that other crew member who's just awkwardly standing behind them, like, he's like trying to like pointedly look away. He's like pointedly looking away, but still very much like right up between their faces in the frame. Like they separate and he's still standing there. And I'm just like, what are you doing there, dude?
He was just thinking the same thing. He's like, where do I do with my hands?
Do I go? You guys are in the way of the path, so like I'm trapped back here. Like I don't, I would move. I would not be here, but you guys are in the way. If you just like scooch over to the left a little bit, I could just like, Cersei finger my way past you while you do this, because I don't need to be here for this. He really was just like, I am trapped here.
So can I say the thing about that scene? That kiss was lame.
But Martha
she was like, oh, hot.
Very hot.
Like, I'm wondering in her contract, in his contract, I don't know, someone's like, no tongue, no,
well,
you know what I mean?
I think it was still literally hot, so maybe that's what she meant. Maybe that's what she was talking about.
Just like smash their faces together.
Too hot for them to be all up in each other's mouths.
I know, but they literally their mouths smushed together, and they like the camera lingers on it, and I'm like, that just looks uncomfortable. Like, it doesn't look. Even like those chase like pecks, like they like you can make a peck hot, like you can, and like you can make a smushing of mouths hot. Like, it doesn't need to be a French kiss or anything. It just looked painful. Like, she needed to go put on some chapstick afterwards. Like, it just looked like friction and like not like ooh friction.
In terms of like when she goes like, I hope you find someone to believe in. I think you already have. Like, the kiss did not match that. Yeah. Also, she should have at least been like, hey, doctor, like, drop us off at the nearest planet. We could just like see where it's going.
Or like, you have fun. Find out where he goes next.
Donna for sure would have been like, hey,
let's just take
I'm gonna need a break.
Yeah.
Take me to midnight.
Right.
Yeah. Let's just chill. But then, of course, like, she goes back to the doctor and is salty about him, and I'm just like, Doctor Who? Okay. Like, what? Who cares?
Yeah. I think that Riley is like, I guess the thing is that, like, it's a one-off episode and there's nothing comes of it. And, like, even he goes, will I ever see you again? And she's like, no, probably not.
Which, like, I respect that. To be honest, like, I do respect that.
The truth.
Yeah.
Like, she's not saying it to hurt his feelings. She's just like, I don't even know where I am, bro. Like, I'm out of time and the universe and it's hot here.
Yeah.
And y'all be like, mining fuel from living planets or whatever. So, yeah, I'm going to go back to my piece of rock, but
I mean, it's better too than like Rose bringing her little dude
Adam,
and he fucks everything up. So.
Why did you remind? Oh no! I forgot about
Rose,
that.
Man.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a moment that I really appreciated, and I didn't realize how strongly my brand it was going to be. I just remembered that they liked each other, and then it was like very strongly my brand, so I fucked with that. But the rest of it was fine.
Nice and chaste. With possibility, but no actual execution.
A slow burn with like literal burning.
A literal burn.
A literal burn. My thing with like Bayana's brand too is like there needs to be the illusion of something without actually showing the something.
And danger.
Because as soon as they actually like show a sex scene or something, she's gonna be like, nope, too far. all the mystery's gone.
Well, you just have to. It's the drama. It's the angst. And it's the like, just like what
I don't know.
You have to have the moment where you're like, wow, we're sitting here and we're talking about all of our feelings and like the terrible things that have happened to us, and then we're here to like comfort each other, and then perhaps foresee a better future. And like sometimes that future doesn't come, and like whatever, fine. But just like the possibility of it, it's great.
Sure. Can we quote from the TARDIS now?
Yeah. We're in the Taraji system. Lovely. And I'm just like, when he said that, I was just like, this is not the time. Like, we've already established we're falling into the sun.
Yeah, the TARDIS is burning. Now's not the time.
Yeah.
Burn with me.
No.
Set the tone
no, thank you.
For the episode.
I'm good. I don't want to.
That's the terrifying sentence, and I was just like, pass?
No, thanks.
Burn with your damn self.
Don't they teach recreational mathematics anymore? And when did they ever? And can they never?
And who wants that?
In Gallifrey, they did.
Apparently. That was his favorite thing. Mm-hmm. Favorite subject.
Happy prime number. I was like, listen, I checked out in like pre-algebra for math things, but I know that ain't shit.
No, I was really like,
There's
you
no-
talking way too fast. I don't know what the hell none of these words.
Prime numbers
I
are
need
not
a
happy.
scientist person to tell me, or a math person to tell me that that's not a real thing. But it just sounds like it's not a real thing. But
It's not a real thing.
I am shocked sometimes at the things on Doctor Who where I'm like, that ain't real, and then it is. I'm like,
Yeah.
you scientists,
You would
people,
think that imaginary numbers would not be.
right? If they're
That
imaginary,
little eye, oh, that used to kill me. I was like, if it's
I told my
imaginary, then why are we adding it?
my algebra professor, imagine I got it right. I'm imagining this don't exist.
You would.
Do I need imaginary numbers to balance my checkbook? Because I was told that all math had practical uses, and I don't see anything practical about imagining numbers.
Unless it's imagining numbers in my bank account.
Right? Imagine this A. Leave me out of it.
Where was I? Here comes the sun. No, resources. And like, I love a level, just layers to that. Because they were talking about the Beatles.
And he was like, what was the name of that song? And then he's like, forget it, it'll come to me later.
Never mind. And he said, here comes the sun. And I'm like, yes, literally, here comes the sun. So like, cool.
And it is not all right.
No, it definitely wasn't.
It's alive. It's alive. Why is it so dramatic?
Because it's alive.
And his hair like trembles. I don't know how he does that. It's kind of like Terry Crews in the pecs, or The Rock in his eyebrow. Like, how do you have motion control over your own hair? I don't know. It's impressive.
Truly impressive.
Why is it so dramatic?
His hair trembles. Isn't that a gif?
Of his hair trembling dramatically?
Yeah,
that's a
gift. I was like, that sounds familiar. How can it be alive? How do you know? Because it's living in me.
It's great. It's great.
All of these groans.
He lives
all
in
of
you.
These groans.
He lives in
So
you
much.
from The Lion King.
Oh no. Remember. Humans, you grab whatever's nearest and bleed it dry. And then my first thought is, every time the doctor says something like disparaging towards humans, that is not false. I'm just like, why do you fuck with us so much? Like, why do you be out here? Like, we ain't shit. So I just don't understand.
Because I'm trying as a human to limit my human interaction as much as humanly possible. I used human a lot in that sentence. And he just out here, he don't have to be. You don't have to be.
No.
It was nice not dying with you.
Yes.
Is that the height of romance, Biana?
Not the height, but it's the start, okay?
It's all about the start.
It is the start.
I reckon you'll find someone worth believing in. I think I already did.
That is the height of romance.
But then she was just like, okay.
Like, okay,
bye.
Cool. Deuces. Which, like, again, I respect it. If she's, like, not really feeling it, fine. Like, okay. Absolutely. But, like, then don't go in and start fighting after the doctor.
She was like, I'm good.
But my thing is, my issue was that she was like, I'm good, and then immediately went into the TARDIS to be pining after the doctor in his trembling hair.
Because they haven't had a chance to kiss, and that kiss disappoint her.
And I mean, I get that, like, it's David Tennant. I truly do. Honestly, truly. But, like, I just, we could not.
We could not. Ugh. Thanks for checking out blackgirlstraight.org. Oh, can you guys vote better?
Except, like, Robin's not. Anyway, check out blackgirlstraight.org. Follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. Use the hashtag Tarbis to talk Doctor Who things. Join our Slack, where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. Rate and review us on iTunes, and where podcasts are found.
Tarbis is a part of Hard Knock Media. We've joined the Nerds of Color podcast network, including the podcast Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asian, DC TV Classics, Ask Bi Girls, Desi Geek Girls, We're Not All Ninjas, and That Moment. You can check out all of these podcasts at Hard Knock Media, knock.com.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next month talking about an episode from season 4. Make sure to keep an eye out for the Twitter poll and to vote on which episode we discuss. You'll be choosing from...
So real quick. We're each gonna... we have to pitch why we should listen to... why they should go for this episode.
I don't even remember which episode's mine.
It's in the agenda. Starter? Yeah, I just put it in the order. You don't even remember, and then you mad because of the ma'am.
I mean, I'm looking at the 3, and I'm like, I either chose The Doctor's Daughter or The Unicorn and the Wasp. I know I don't choose Midnight.
Okay, so you're gonna give 30 seconds. I'm setting a timer.
Oh,
Robin, please tell us why people should vote for The Doctor's Daughter, starting now.
I think you should vote for The Doctor's Daughter because Donna has a lot of fun. You get to see Tennant meet his wife, who's also his daughter, who's also the daughter of a doctor, and that shit alone means that we should watch and talk about it. Continuing on with the David Tennant dates a co-star from an episode phenomenon. There's war, there's clones, there's weird time stuff. And also, I don't really remember it.
Done. You should have led with Martha, because this is time and relative blackness in space.
Martha!
You out of time. Okay. You out of time.
You out of time. All done. Okay, Martha, cool. All right.
I don't remember.
Want to go next, Connie?
Sure.
Why we should watch The Unicorn and the Wasp. Ready, go.
Agatha frickin' Christie. There was a New York Times article that recently, a couple days ago, just denoted, the timeline of her disappearance, and I just love making, history, finding little holes in history and, filling them with Doctor Who things, and so that's really great. Donna's outfit is really great. The whole episode is just, so fun and 1920s, and, we're about to be in the 20s, so, obviously, we should watch The Unicorn and the Wasp.
All right. So I'm gonna start. This is for Midnight.
Wait, hold up. No.
We should not.
We can't have you do it. You're gonna be voting.
No, I'm literally I swear I will. I mean, if y'all want to do it, that's fine. But I'm not gonna cheat. I don't want to talk 30 seconds. Is a long time. But y'all can do it.
Hold on. Oh no, I don't know how to do the timer. Hold on.
I had it all pulled up. You don't even have to do it.
I believed you, Bayana. I wouldn't call you a liar to your face.
I just feel all right, let's go.
All right, Midnight. First of all, Donna practices self-care, so that's really important. I think we should see that more in time and space. Second of all, we got Black people in the episode, at least 2. Hardworking Black women, underappreciated. We should give them their things. Third of all, the acting. We're in here with thespians. It is a masterclass in just what you do as an actor, and it's great, and just it's beautiful. Is that it?
That's
it.
Cool. Okay, but I don't know how to stop my timer.
All right, you guys choose. Is it going to be The Doctor's Daughter, Midnight, or The Unicorn and the Wasp? Be on the lookout for our Twitter poll. And we'll see you next month.
The Black girls have the box.